Hi sisters, my name is Talene and I'm a registered dietitian and fellow PCOS sister. Today, I'm going to talk to you about some amazing testimonies from sisters who have reversed their PCOS symptoms, lost weight, and are just thriving. All of these messages are from sisters in our membership, the Sisterhood, where we have lots of recipes, workouts, and resources to help women with PCOS understand what's going on metabolically, harness it, and finally take control of their bodies. It's really amazing to read all these testimonies. Every single month we have a huge new batch, and I just remember when I had PCOS, I was struggling with symptoms so bad, and every time I read messages that were inspiring, I just wanted to know like what they did and how they did it, how they reversed their symptoms, all the juicy details. Like I'd want to like sit with these people and interview them and like know what they did. So that's kind of like what this video is gonna be. I'm gonna read each testimonial to you and explain what they did so you can follow in their footsteps. So of course, I'm gonna drop the link to the Sisterhood in the description below because I'm in there, Sirak, my husband and PCOS personal trainer, is in there, and thousands of women with PCOS are in there, thriving with PCOS, learning what they can do for their metabolism, for their hormones, for their symptoms, and learning how to live symptom-free. And I want that for you too. So I've linked it in the description below. All right, so let's get into it. I have it up on my phone. So here's a message from Annabelle Flowers. She says, "Hi gang, little UK update from me on a recent win. October 21st, started gym 5 times a week and a low-calorie diet, 1,200 to 1,500 calories a day. 5 months later, 0 weight or inches lost. I was literally sticking to my plan religiously and nothing was happening. March 21st, discovered Sirak and Talene on Instagram and began studying hard. Within 2 weeks, I had lost 6 pounds and now 2 months on, I've lost 16 pounds. I have a long way to go, but it's happening, guys. I'm so happy I could cry. The main factors I found made a difference were, number 1, Ovasitol." Well, how about I go through it one by one? So let's go through the first one and then I'll add my commentary. She says, number 1, Ovasitol. Now, this is a supplement and I'll link it in the description. It helps with insulin resistance. It helps get your cells more insulin sensitive. And what this means is you're better at metabolizing the sugar that's broken down from the food you're eating. You're better at burning it for energy instead of storing it as fat. And that's because when your insulin levels are high all the time and you're insulin resistant, it blocks fat burning and triggers high testosterone and PCOS symptoms. So this supplement specifically helps with that at the root of the issue. And I highly suggest it if you're struggling with insulin resistance to look into taking Ovasitol, and I've linked it in the description. All right, the second thing she did, she says she reduced her weights in the gym and she had longer rests in between sets, 60-second rests instead of 30 seconds. So this is following our PCOS weight loss method. We have a slow weighted workout approach. All the workouts in the Sisterhood follow the slow weighted workout method. Now, this means that you're lifting weights, but you're not like swinging them around. You know, they're not light weights, but they're not heavy weights either. They're just enough so that by the 10th rep, you really feel the burn and you're ready to let go of those weights and take a 60-second rest until you pick them back up. Now that 60-second rest is important because it's keeping your stress hormones low. And the weight itself is important because it's packing on the muscle and it's creating insulin sensitivity. That's great because now your metabolism is moving even after your workout. When you harness insulin levels and cortisol levels, that's great because that is going to help reduce belly fat. It's going to help with your hormonal health. It's really good for PCOS. That's why we suggest slow weighted workouts in the Sisterhood. Next, she went gluten and dairy free. Now I'm going to link a video about gluten and dairy. If you haven't tried going gluten and dairy free before, it's definitely worth trying for at least 30 days to see how you feel. She says she had less screen time at night. You know, staring at your phone screen at night can suppress melatonin and increase your cortisol, your stress hormone. That just sets you up for a night of poor quality sleep and then cravings the next day. way, sleep is a high priority. You really, really want to prioritize quality sleep. And that doesn't just mean getting 8 hours. That means getting good REM sleep and setting yourself up for success before you even get into bed. And that means turning off your screens or using the glasses that like block blue light, but I'd rather just turn off my screen and read a book. All right, next, she says, and this is crazy but worked. I stopped overthinking it. Just get on with your life. Now that I'm not overanalyzing every teeny detail and putting so much pressure on myself and just getting on with my life, it's less stressful. Therefore, my cortisol is lowered. So I love that piece of advice. Of course, sometimes it's really hard because, you know, your one goal is to manage your PCOS and you've tried for so long and it's so frustrating. So it's hard to just get on with it. But I can see what she's saying. Don't overthink it. Trust the process. Do the things that are good for you. Make yourself feel good with the lifestyle changes and focus on how good you're starting to feel, and don't overanalyze every teeny thing, because then you're going to want to see results immediately. And when you don't, it's going to feel really disappointed and hard to stick with and stressful. So relax. Learn about PCOS, which is part of the sisterhood we teach you in the 5 steps to PCOS weight loss. Learn metabolically what's going on. And then when you're applying these things, these lifestyle changes, the weight loss will just happen and you can trust it. You can trust the process because you know what's actually good for your body. So then she concludes by saying, no one felt more like nothing was working than me. Don't give up. It will work. So that was a great testimony, very inspiring, and I hope my commentary helped you understand kind of the behind the scenes of what's going on metabolically as she follows our method. All right, next, Katie Maria. She says, hey everyone, it's been a little over a month that I went gluten-free and dairy-free, and I wanted to share some results to encourage anyone who has just started. This is also with taking Ovasitol every day and improving vitamin D levels, which was very low. Super important. PCOS women, we struggle with low vitamin D levels, along with other deficiencies that really promote the weight gain and make it harder and produce more inflammation. You know, fish oil is really important. Curcumin is really important. I'm going to link them all below. These are all very important supplements to help our metabolism, and vitamin D is definitely one of them. You want a good multivitamin that has vitamin D in it. All right. So she says, number 1, I'm down 3 to 4 pounds. Hard to tell because the scale fluctuates a lot, but I'd say it's closer to 4. That's awesome. Amazing. She says it's been over a month. So that's awesome. 1 to 3 pounds a week is fabulous progress. And even if you're not losing any weight, if anything is getting better, acne, bloating, mood, means you're on the right track. Continue doing what you're doing. Secondly, she says, my testosterone level dropped from 86 to 74. That's awesome. And this is through diet and lifestyle changes. Look at what control you have over your hormones. Now, one specific thing that I feel like impacts her testosterone is that she's taking the Ovasitol supplement and she's reducing inflammation by going gluten and dairy free. And this is all great for insulin sensitivity. She's improving her insulin sensitivity, and the reason why that affects testosterone is because if you have high insulin levels, then that's going to trigger high testosterone in your ovaries. So she's managing the root issues and it's showing up in her blood work. Number 3, she says, my moods are way more stable. I was all over the place before. I would have such low days out of nowhere. And that's really just a result, probably, of having high testosterone. It makes you moody, it makes you crabby, it makes you want to choke somebody. It's just really something, that high testosterone. All right, number 4. I still struggle with daytime fatigue, but it has definitely improved. So there's so many factors that go into fatigue, and it's great that she's seeing improvement, which means that what she's doing is working. And you can, of course, layer on other things. You can improve your cortisol levels by making sure you're doing slow weighted workouts or going on a walk during sunset to get those sun rays in your eyes, because what happens at sunset is the light is different and it promotes melatonin and reduces cortisol. It just sets you up for a a good night of sleep. So that's awesome too. So there's so many things you can do. And then number 5, she says, I've noticed a slight improvement in my eczema. It used to be very bad for me, and while I still have it, I feel like it's more manageable. And that's wonderful news, because if she's sensitive to gluten and dairy, then it could be aggravating other skin conditions like eczema. She concludes by saying, I haven't really been paying attention to how many carbs I eat and have definitely cheated a lot with sugar-filled gluten and dairy-free options. I'm going to try to focus more on this going forward. Also, I've not yet started weighted workouts. I've just been walking. 10,000 steps a day is what I aim for, but I plan on starting weighted workouts as well. That is amazing, because she's not trying to do everything at once. She knows there are other things she could be doing. She's taking it one step at a time with her diet changes. You don't have to be perfect tomorrow. Sometimes with going gluten and dairy free, you kind of want to ease yourself into it, because, you know, you might miss the foods that have gluten and dairy in them, and then you end up buying like packaged gluten and dairy free foods, but at least they're gluten and dairy free. You think to yourself, that's part of the transition. It's part of helping you transition. I take that with cheese as well. Like, you kind of miss cheese when you go dairy free. And sometimes dairy free cheese has a lot of weird ingredients in it that probably aren't good for you, but it's a good crutch as you transition into the dairy-free lifestyle and kick that craving for actual cheese. So next is Angelica Stefanides. She says, okay, Friday win. It's been 2 weeks since I joined the sisterhood, 2 weeks, and I've lost 4.5 inches from my waist, bicep, and thigh. Not to mention the scale has dropped 4 pounds. Ugly crying over here and enjoying every step of this process. You guys are the best, and I'm so happy I found this support. Also, if any sisters are also in LA, I went to Milk and Honey Spa for a massage, which I highly suggest if you want to treat yourself and your body to de-stress. I love it. So you're probably wondering, my God, like 4 pounds in 2 weeks? I mean, I remember a time when I literally couldn't even lose 1 pound no matter how hard I was working out. But it is possible to lose like 1 to 3 pounds a week. And for her, it seems she lost 2 pounds per week, and it's showing in her waist and biceps and on her body because she's measuring herself. Now with this, I want to mention, you know, sometimes you don't see the scale move. Sometimes the scale doesn't move at all for like weeks, but your waist to hip ratio, if you're measuring yourself, changes. And that's why it is really important to choose a very non-triggering approach to understanding how your weight progress is going. So if the number on the scale is triggering for you, don't weigh yourself. If measuring is better, go ahead and measure. If that's triggering too, then just go based on how your jeans fit. You know, it's really, the number doesn't matter at all. What you're really focused on is improving your symptoms. And if you want to lose weight, you know, it could be just how your clothes are fitting. So that's really something that you want to do a self-evaluation for, or else this weight loss journey can be very triggering, because there are highs and there are lows, and sometimes things don't work and you have to change things up. And if you're obsessing on this number on a scale, it gets discouraging and you want to quit. That's the last thing you want to do. You want to stick to it and just do the best you can and keep learning, you know, what might work, what might not work for you. Everyone is different, and those triggers can throw you off track. So be careful with that. All right, I'll read one more message. This one is from Christy Leal. She says, hey sisters, in this past 2 weeks of being 100% disciplined, getting my thyroid checked. Getting her thyroid checked, great idea. Because when you have hypothyroid, which around 30% of women with PCOS struggle with, it looks just like PCOS. So, you know, you'll do all these things that are great for PCOS, but if you have hypothyroid issues, you might need medication, you might need a little more assistance, and that's totally fine. So it's good to get your thyroid checked if you're really struggling to lose a single pound. And then she says, having some CBD at night, I'll link it in the description. Great for reducing cortisol, getting quality sleep. She says doing low impact workouts 3 to 4 times a week. So again, the workouts in the sisterhood, slow weighted workouts, and then eating gluten and dairy free. And this is all the recipes in the sisterhood. They're gluten and dairy free and balanced, designed for PCOS weight loss. Protein, carbs, fat, veggies, every ingredient I've hand selected and chosen so that it can help you lose weight with PCOS. And she says, eating the recipes out of the website, I've lost 8.5 pounds. My gosh, that's in 2 weeks, she says. That has never happened before in a period of 2 weeks. 4 months, maybe. I tell you this as inspiration for you to keep going. You can do it. Just listen to your body and be disciplined. So I love her message, and I think it's wonderful that she's been able to see these results. And it is just proof that she might have been struggling with insulin resistance, which makes you retain water, inflammation, all of these things that make you feel bloated, puffy, gaining weight every single day, you know? And it's great that she's figured out what works for her body, and now she's able to stick to it because she's seeing the results. I will mention that 8.5 pounds isn't necessarily the goal that I would suggest in 2 weeks. If it happens, wonderful. If it doesn't happen, don't be disappointed, because everyone's body is different. She may be struggling with a lot of insulin resistance, and she may have been retaining water that her body finally was able to release, and she might have figured out what improves her metabolism and what can really help her burn energy. And not everybody sees that kind of result immediately. And sometimes it's just like 1 pound a week or 2 pounds or none. And that's totally fine too, as long as you're feeling good and you're doing something that is helping your symptoms overall, not just the weight. You want to stick to that. So for Christy and her journey, I think it's wonderful. And I think that everyone who's listening can see her as an inspiration, but also make sure that you're not comparing yourself to her. Everyone with PCOS is different, and you're working on your own journey and figuring out what works for you specifically. She also mentions discipline. Some of us, we aren't good at going cold turkey on things, and that's fine too. Find how to do it your way. Christy found it for herself, and it's our responsibility to find out what works for us our way, so that we feel good on our PCOS journey and we're able to lose weight in a sustainable, healthy way that makes us feel good. So I hope these messages were inspiring. I would love to do a video like this again. If you loved it, comment below. Tell me which testimony you related to the most. And I hope to see you in the Sisterhood, our membership program where you can learn how to lose weight with PCOS and manage your symptoms. Me and Sirak, my husband, PCOS personal trainer, again, we are in there cheering you on every step of the way. So give this video a like, comment, let me know what you think, and share. Talk to you soon, sisters. Bye.